Absolutely. Yeah, it's really, really incredible stuff. So one last thing, I've heard, I don't know, recently that you said, man, a great dissertation topic would be on how to identify a miracle. I don't know if did you say that, or did I hear that from someone else?
I know I've said that a lot over the years.
Yeah, because it's well, if you want to, as we draw down here, to comment on we're fighting, it almost feels like a tidal wave of anti-supernaturalism. It's making headway back in small pockets, quantum, this sort of thing, with making some space there to get away from the mechanistic sort of naturalism or scientism of the day. Do you have any commentary about, how you go about talking about the supernatural? Like I said, it's when I meet people just skeptic on the street or somebody up at the university, they usually just say, I can just toss it out. It's got miracles in it. And they'd say, well, and then they kind of you kind of get the idea they're taking a Humean tact, where if I open the floodgate, all of a sudden I got to believe Aesop's fables,
They probably don't want to open the floodgates. Well,
For
I'll
sure.
tell you this. In order to get to another world, I think there are several tacks. Some people are really good on arguments for God's existence, the Kalam argument or other arguments.
Yes.
Some people are really good on the whole data of intelligent design and the fact that there's no as a leading cosmologist said just recently, there is no chance on the number of planets we know in this universe. The odds are so high, biological odds, that you could get life from non-life.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen anywhere in the universe.
Right.
So intelligent design and fine-tuning arguments are big.
Right. Yeah.
I myself, to show there's another world, I like to go after intelligent. I like to talk about near-death experiences.
Yes.
Because interestingly enough, near-death experiences, you get another world right immediately in the testimony. Here's an example. One of my best PhD students right now is an Indian student from India. He's got a master's degree from an Indian university. He spent 4 years at Dallas Seminary doing 27 hours in Greek and Hebrew. The guy's really sharp.
Wow.
When he was 14 years old in India, he was up in a tree and he fell out of the tree on his head. He was way up. He was like 15 feet up.
Wow.
And fell out of the tree on his head. His mom came running out of the house, picked up his seemingly lifeless body, and she's screaming, "Honey, don't die, don't die. Someone call an ambulance." His name is Raj. What's his nickname? Raj. She's going, "Raj, don't die on me, don't die on me." And he said, "I was still up in the tree. My body's down there, but I was out of my body." And I'm saying to my mom, "Mom, I'm fine. I'm fine. Will you stop crying?" Wow. But he said, my mom did not hear me. She didn't know I was up in the tree.
Wow.
She thought she was holding me in her arms.
Wow.
And she was screaming at me, "Don't die." And he's going, "Mom, I'm more alive than I've ever been arguing." Now, what I'm saying is, in the majority of these near-death experiences, they are immediately in another world.
Right.
If you talk Kalam, if you talk intelligent design, if you talk fine-tuning, and I'd say time out here, Hugh Ross, the major cosmologist, told me a few years ago now, he reads everything voluminously. He told me he had not read an astrophysicist in the previous 3 years who has not either become a deist or concedes the possibility of deism. He hasn't read one. And so I named the name of a guy we both knew as maybe the biggest named guy who can't stand religion. I said, "What about him?" And Hugh said he just conceded the possibility of deism.
Unbelievable.
So if you're going to get a deism kind of thing from cosmology, from fine-tuning, from intelligent design, from the Kalam argument, I think it's a great argument, but you have to say God did it. So you got to make that inference.
Yes.
I'm saying with near-death experiences, the really well evidential ones, and by the way, there's over 300 documented cases now. Wow. But on the really good NDEs, you don't have to work to another world. You're in another world.
Absolutely.
This Raj is up in the tree yelling at his mom, and you're going, no. Raj thought he was in the tree. Okay. What if I could tell you 4 things Raj did that proved he was up in the tree? What if I could tell you that? And you go, "I don't believe that." I don't care. What if I can show you things that happen either in the room or sometimes miles away that they see from the hospital room.
Yep.
That they can see these things. What if I told you they're in another world, but whenever they talk to somebody, stop beating on my chest. Wow. Stop it. I want to stay where I am. Right. Nobody looks up and says, hey, stupid, I'm trying to save you. No, they don't hear you. They don't hear you yelling at them.
Right.
And so they are, if these are evidence cases, they're not just somewhere else. And by the way, dozens of them have no measurable heart or brain activity, or they're general surgery cases, which you cannot hear people talk about general surgery. So there are dozens of those now with evidence, dozens with evidence. Wow. And the point is, when you say, I was telling you to quit hitting me, we couldn't hear you. Well, if you have evidence that you were there, what does there mean? Yes. There is already another world.
Right.
So if you have this claim that this man named Jesus was raised from the dead, and dead men don't rise.
Right.
And whenever Jesus was asked, what sign are you going to give us? Like in the Q passage, in Matthew and Luke, Matthew 12, again, Matthew 16, give us a sign. And he said, you're a wicked and adulterous generation because you won't believe no matter what, but I'll still give you the sign of my resurrection.
Right.
Okay. So even there, it's the resurrection. But Jesus can't raise himself. I don't care how great he is. If you're dead, you're dead.
Right.
He said, my Father is going to do it.
Right.
But wait a minute. If his Father acts on him to raise him, okay, bingo. His dad's in another universe. His father's in another universe.
Right.
Secondly, if he made the most unique claims in the history of religions, two of them are, he claimed to be the Son of God.
Right.
And he said that what you do with him are the keys to eternity. Well, even Boltmann paraphrased, Jesus taught that what you do with him determines where you spend eternity. Right. That's a paraphrase, but even the critics claim that. If you claim those two things, how much more blasphemy can you be than to say, I'm the Son of God and I hold the keys to the kingdom? If God raised you from the dead, now I got to take that really seriously.
Yeah.
So for all these reasons, Joe, we're into another world from either God's existence, ID, intelligent design, fine-tuning. I like near-death experiences the best because that tells me there's another world involved. And if there's an evidence is over 300 cases, there's an afterlife no matter what you're going to do. Absolutely. Now, let's talk about Jesus because that's afterlife.
There you go.
I think these all dove together. And let me close with this one-liner.
Yes.
A friend of mine is writing a book for InterVarsity Academic. It's a major publisher. And John Hick's little book on the existence of God has gone out of print, I understand. And it was a major source for decades.
Gotcha.
Well, now they decided to hire my friend, and he did a book on recent arguments for God's existence. It's due out in a few months.
Wow.
One of the things he discovered is that naturalism is dying. Naturalism is going out the window.
Right.
And they can scream all they want. I hate intelligent design. It's not scientific.
Right.
I hate fine-tuning. I don't like the Kalam argument. Yes. Don't talk to me about near-death experiences. Everybody made it up.
Right.
You can say whatever you want. But if it's not affecting them, why are they converting? Not necessarily Christianity, but their belief in God.
They are.
These evidences are changing things.
They are. I suspect you're a lot like me. I'm a sucker for a conversion story. I'm working on a video now about these people converting following flu that are converting. Not that there's anything wrong with converting based on a felt need or, and addressing the suffering in your life, but based on the evidence. The flu is very clear. This is why he converted. And they're usually in the hard sciences. These aren't they're not superstitious, gullible people. They've been given award after award for being really, really disciplined thinkers. So
yeah. And you're doing that now, huh?
I am. I'm working on it. We're going to, everything's in the works. You know how it goes.
Well, I can tell you just from dealing with doubt and I probably had 1,000 conversations, emails, phone calls with doubters. Now we're going back.
Right.
We're going back 35 years, but I've had many, hundreds and hundreds of calls. And I'm starting now to get calls from atheists and agnostics.
Wow.
I got one right on my computer right before you called me. A guy I've been dealing with for a while, but he just wrote back to me. Not a Christian. Sure, he's not a Christian. But he knows something's going on.
Absolutely.
And he wants to avoid judgment, which he doesn't even believe in. He just doesn't want to take a chance on it being true.
So there's the wager back, right?
Hey, well, yeah.
Come on.
And you know what? I tell people we're all doubters for this reason.
For sure.
A, we're humans. We don't know everything.
Absolutely.
B, if the biblical story is true, we're sinners.
Right.
So sin and finiteness are bad grounds for thinking we know everything.
Absolutely.
And that means that non-Christians and atheists and agnostics are going to have questions.
Of course.
Just like Christians do. So
absolutely, you're exactly right.